Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all well. I'm just going to give it a minute to make sure that everyone has been able to join that wishes to do so. But thank you so much to everyone who has arrived so promptly. Hopefully you can all hear me okay and you can see the slides on the screen there. As I say, I'm just going to give it a minute just to make sure that everyone who wishes to join us has managed to join before we get started. But thank you so much to everyone who has been able to join so promptly. It's always very much appreciated. So we'll just give it a minute or so more and we will wait from there. You can see the numbers are still going up, which is very exciting. So I will just give it a minute or so more and see where we go from there. Right, we seem to have leveled out for a little bit. So I am going to get started in the interest of ensuring we have time to get through everything. So good afternoon, everybody. Great to see so many of you here. My name is Hannah Coe. I am a senior student recruitment manager here at the University of Law, and I am delighted to be welcomed by Target Jobs to the Routes into Law webinar. I'm going to be with you for about an hour today. We're going to go through a session on Routes into Law. Then we will be doing a little taster session towards the end. So hopefully you will all have had a link sent through to you that will have a little document for you to download that will help us with our taster that we'll be doing later on today. During the session, if you do have any questions, please pop them into the questions tab. You should be able to see it in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Do pop them into there, and hopefully I will have time at the end of the session to come back to any questions that you may have. So just a brief introduction to us here at the University of Law. Hopefully lots of you will have heard of us. We are one of the leading providers of postgraduate law courses here in the UK. We have multiple locations across the UK, which I will go into in just a second. And we have trained more practicing lawyers in the UK than anyone else, which we are incredibly proud of. We have 94% of our students are employed in highly skilled occupations 15 months after graduating. So our graduate outcomes data is really strong. And we have an overall 5-star rating from the QS World University Rankings. And there aren't many universities in the UK that have that 5-star rating. There's about 15 or so. So we are very, very, very pleased to be able to get that 5-star rating from the QS World University Rankings. So I mentioned just a moment ago our locations. You can see those on the screen here. So we have our own locations on the left-hand side. So these are our campuses where we have our own teaching. We then, as you can see on the right-hand side, have our partnership institutions. So these are other universities where we have partnered up with them and we deliver our courses from those campuses. So it is worth noting we have different courses offered at different campuses. So if you have any questions about that, I'm super happy to answer them if I get a chance at the end. Or you can take a look on our website, and on each of the course pages, it will state for you which location you can study those courses at. So hopefully that will be able to provide you with some information about where you can do our courses. But what you can see is a really wide range of locations that you can study across pretty much the length and breadth of England. We don't currently have any locations within Wales or any locations within Scotland, but these are certainly things we are working on. Most of you are likely aware that there are differences between the English and Welsh legal system and the Scottish legal system, but we certainly are working on other locations all the time. So do keep your eyes peeled on our website. So if you do decide to join the University of Law, then we have our fantastic alumni network, and your time with us just doesn't end once you've completed your studies. As a graduate, you can become a part of our alumni network. You can join our global community of over 90,000 alumni across 147 different countries. And through our alumni, we're so proud to say we're connected to over 11,800 businesses and organizations. So as one of our alumni, you can have those connections too, which is obviously, as you can imagine, super invaluable. And for those of you who are interested perhaps in the solicitor route, these are some of the national and international firms that we are the exclusive provider for. So these are firms that we have direct communications and contacts with. So Clifford Chance, Mishcon de Reya, Ashurst, they all send their trainees directly to us. We do have a really vast network in the legal industry, and we deliver legal training to 94 of the top 100 law firms and have exclusive relationships with 60 of the top UK law firms and many prestigious US law firms as well. And for those interested in the barrister route, we have good contacts with a lot of chambers if you are still considering that barrister route as well. So because of these great connections, we can offer you some fantastic pro bono opportunities, and we have law fairs and talks from employers throughout your time studying with us as well. And we really do like to think that, obviously, while staying on top of the legal market, applying for your training contracts, your qualifying work experience, your pupilages, you want to be able to stay on top of everything else as well. So we have the opportunity for you to get a real nurturing and bespoke experience to be successful everywhere. You'll be assigned an academic coach who will mentor you through your studies. They're contactable throughout your course. You can have one-to-one meetings with them, and they are all tutors based at our campuses, and all of our tutors have an open door policy, which makes it very easy for you to talk to them when you need to. We also have our student journey advisors, who are your dedicated named point of contact for advice and guidance before and during your course, and they will really guide you and support you through your journey to ensure you have the best possible experience. We also have the My ULaw app as well, so your emails can be accessed from there, your timetabling, wellbeing support, you can check into your classes, so an easy way of registering, and you will have free access to that app if and when you start studying with us. So let's get down to the nitty gritty of our course today. So we are looking at, today's talk will focus on routes into law. So a good starting point is to have a little look at the routes into law themselves. So for anyone who is interested in looking at the solicitor route, you may well be aware that there has been a recent change that's come in the way that you qualify as a solicitor, and that is the introduction of the SQE, or Solicitors Qualifying Examinations. So depending on which year you currently are in at university will depend on which route you can take. If you have just started your first year or your second year at university, no matter which course you are studying on, you will have to take the SQE route to qualification, so the Solicitors Qualifying Exams, which you can see in blue along the bottom. If you are in your final year of your degree at the moment, and that is your final year of your law degree, you will have the option. You can either take the LPC route to qualification, which you can see along the top, that's the legal practice course, or you can choose to take the SQE, the Solicitors Qualifying Examinations route. It's completely up to you which course you choose to take. And if you are not currently studying a law degree at all, then you will also have to take the Solicitors Qualifying Examinations route to practice. So both of them contain a course option. So if you take the LPC route, or you're eligible to do so, you will study the legal practice course. If you're choosing the SQE route, or you must take the SQE route, you can study on the SQE courses. And there are different options that are available to you. You can either study with us, certainly, the LLM Legal Practice SQE 1 and 2. So this course will combine your SQE 1 and Stage 1 and Stage 2 studies alongside what we term our SQE Plus, which is your additional modules to allow you to really succeed within the legal marketplace. Or you can choose to take our pure SQE preparation courses on their own. So these are just your pure prep for those examinations. You then have to sit your assessments, the legal practice course. The assessments are built into the course themselves. If you choose to take the SQE, you have to then take the external examinations that are available. And then you have a 2-year period of experience. So on the legal practice course route, you will take a 2-year training contract. If you choose to take the SQE, the Solicitors Qualifying Examinations route, you will technically have to undertake 2 years qualifying work experience. Now, we are finding that a lot of firms are sticking with the name of a training contract. So it's still going to be called a training contract, but it will be eligible for you whether you have chosen to take the LPC or the SQE route. So our best piece of advice with this is do just make sure you are really reading the fine print and ensuring that you know exactly what you are choosing to take and that you are eligible to do so. Again, if we've got an opportunity at the end, I'm very happy to take questions on the SQE. I can already see that a couple have fallen in, so that is great. Worth noting that on here as well, we don't necessarily speak about those who are currently studying a non-law degree. You will have to follow the blue route along the bottom, but before you do that, you will have to take a law conversion course. We have 3 different options available here at the University of Law. We have the PGDL, or the Postgraduate Diploma in Law. We have the MA Law Conversion course and the MA Law SQE1. So you will have to do one of those before you then come on to the SQE route. So I hope that makes sense for you. It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of it, of course. I'm very happy to take further questions on it as well. Alternatively, we do run a huge amount of events, and we actually have one coming up towards the end of October. I believe it's the 24th of October, which is called the SQE Explained. You may wish to register for that via our website, which is www.law.ac.uk. If you want more in-depth information about the SQE itself, that's definitely the route for you to go, because obviously I only have a finite amount of time available to me today. So just to mention, I will come to the questions towards the end of the session. So do submit your questions throughout, and I will make it to them as soon as I can at the end of today's session. So for those of you who are interested in the route to qualification via the bar, so if you're interested in becoming a barrister, this is your route. So you will have your academic component at the very beginning. So this will either be taking your qualifying law degree, or you will need to take one of the conversion courses after taking something else in law. So for this route, you can take either the PGDL or the MA Law Conversion. The MA Law SQE1 is not suitable for those who wish to go down the barrister route. As you can probably tell by its name, it is very much geared towards those who want to go down the solicitor route because it has SQE components within it. So you have to complete your academic component first of all, then you go on to complete your vocational component, which for us is known as the bar practice course. It's worth noting that every provider who offers the barrister route calls it something different. That change came in a few years ago, so it is just worth noting when you're doing your research, do make sure that you're looking out for different names, because yes, there was a change that came in a few years ago, which means that every provider of the bar course now calls it something different. So do make sure you are looking into that yourselves. Then you will receive your call to the bar. So this is something that you go along to your Inns of Court to do, and at that point you will be able to call yourself a barrister, but you won't actually be able to practice. In order to practice, you will have to complete a 1-year pupillage scheme. The pupillage is, if you will, the equivalent of the training contract or the qualifying work experience, but it is for the barrister route. This is where you work alongside a barrister within a chambers. You will shadow them. You will go along to anything that they are doing. Your first 6 months is very much just shadowing the barrister themselves. Then when you get to your second 6 months, that is when you can generally, they call it going on your feet. So you can generally then start to actually practice in court, represent clients, etc. And by the end of that, once you are fully trained, you will then become a fully fledged barrister. So let's have a little look now at some of the similarities between the two, because there definitely are similarities between solicitors and barristers. And I think it's really important if you're looking to go into this profession to understand what the differences are. Some of you may be 100% confident in which of these options you would like to take. Some of you may be less so, and hopefully this will be able to provide you with a lot of help and guidance. So first of all, you can see there that some of the similarities are that they specialise in a particular area of law. Normally, the specialism comes during your postgraduate studies, so you'll get the opportunity to select modules that you're interested in, and that will start to give you an idea of the specialism that you want to go down. And then during your training contract, your qualifying work experience, your pupillage time, that is when you will pick the area of law that you would then like to go into and practice within. You can also see that they very much research and apply the law to their clients' legal problems. The skill of research and analysing law is kind of what every student develops during your course. It's a really key skill that will enable you to do your job. You can see there, many believe that it's only solicitors that are employed in-house, but it's actually now widely known that barristers can work in-house. So DWF, which is a solicitor's firm, has been known to offer pupillages. So you do have the opportunity to work in-house, and also not just necessarily within a chambers. So that was kind of always a common misconception that the in-house route was only ever available to solicitors, but it definitely is available to barristers as well. And then representing clients in court. It's a common misconception that solicitors kind of cannot go beyond a magistrate court, but the SRA allows for solicitors, so the SRA, they are the Solicitors Regulation Authority, and they allow for solicitors to apply for what's known as your higher rights of audience accreditation. This means you undertake an advocacy assessment, and If you are successful, you can then represent your clients in high courts for civil or criminal proceedings. So both solicitors and barristers do have the opportunity to represent clients in court if they so wish to do so. But now let's have a little look at what the differences are. And let's start off by looking at the solicitors. So have a look at their duties first of all. They are very much the people that will negotiate on matters, so bargaining on an outcome that would be beneficial for their client. They very much are required to give legal advice to their clients. They will undertake research. They will very much get involved in business development. So that could be hosting breakfast or lunches for clients and potential clients. They will do networking. They might do pitching to win new clients, but also to keep your existing ones as well. And then you have the nature of the work that they do. It is desk-based. So when you're not meeting your clients, you will generally spend your time at desk drafting and researching. It's a client-facing role. It's very key for a solicitor because when people talk about needing to see a lawyer to talk about their legal problems, generally they will go and meet the solicitor first. So it's very much a client-facing role. You will work in a team. Often when there is a solicitor, there is a team of support to be able to help you to deliver those legal services. So you might have legal assistants, you might have paralegals, trainee solicitors, all there to be able to support you. Meeting deadlines, very important, certainly court deadlines. If a barrister is relying on you for the workload that they need to be able to conduct their job, there might be a deal that needs to be closed, a matter that needs to be negotiated by a certain time. And you will do some traveling as well. Clients may come to see you, or you might travel to them for meetings and negotiations as well. Now let's have a little think about the barristers. So starting with their duties, they will write opinions and they will very much advise the solicitors on what the solicitors need to know. They will prepare legal arguments to present in a courtroom as why the court should support their client's case. And also when they're in that courtroom situation, they will examine and cross-examine their witnesses. So they will get the opportunity to ask their own witnesses questions that support their case, but also they'll get the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses from the other side as well. So the nature of the work, you are generally self-employed as a barrister. It's important to note, not always, but as a general rule, you are self-employed. So you work for yourself and then you rent a space within your chambers. You will spend probably more time traveling as a barrister than you will do as a solicitor because, of course, you could be representing clients from anywhere around the country. So you'll be traveling to those courts. You'll spend your time meeting deadlines and you will spend a lot of your time doing independent work. You work a lot less within that team structure as a barrister than you necessarily do as a solicitor. So let's have a little look now at why you might want to be a lawyer. There's plenty of benefits about moving into law and thinking about your route into law today. Make sure that you are thinking about why you want to do this. The route into law is not always necessarily simple. So you've got to really think about why you want to do this and what are some of the benefits of being a lawyer. It's a very intellectually challenging route. You are always learning and always growing. You get a real opportunity to work very closely with your clients. You help them to achieve their goals. And this kind of sense of helping somebody is a real reason why lots of people will go into the route of law. Generally, no 2 days in the office will be the same. You get the opportunity to do lots of different things throughout your time. There are sometimes opportunities for you to work abroad, which is really exciting. And your earning potential can be pretty high. Really important to note here, I think, as well, that everybody thinks being a lawyer pays a lot. It can do. It very much depends on, first of all, the area of law you choose to practice in and where in the country you choose to practice. You may not be aware of this, but as a general rule, criminal law is one of the least well-paid areas of law. The reason being for that, you have to do a lot of pro bono work. Everybody is entitled to legal advice, whether they can afford it or not. So it could be that your client cannot afford to pay you and you're therefore required to do it pro bono or for free. Generally, those that do have the highest earning potential are those who work in business law, in corporate law, mergers and acquisitions, etc., because you're obviously kind of dealing with quite high levels of content. And if it's exciting to you, your work might even make the news. You may become a kind of a notorious, in a good way, for being able to provide excellent support to your clients. So thinking about some of the key roles and tasks throughout a career in law that you may have to get involved with. You may spend some of your time negotiating and questioning. This could be with your clients, this could be with your witnesses. Certainly solicitors will get heavily involved in drafting legal letters, drafting contracts, drafting documents. Representing clients in court, we've obviously spoken about. That doesn't necessarily just fall to a barrister. You could do that as a solicitor as well. You will hold conferences and you will hold meetings with your clients. You'll spend your time researching the law, deciding on a particular course of action, getting the opportunities to meet your clients and find out how you can help them, and advising your clients on the law and their case as well. So it's definitely a really exciting route, a really exciting opportunity to get into, a really exciting career to go into. And as I mentioned to you earlier, it's definitely the case in law that no 2 days are generally the same. So when you're thinking about kind of making applications to law firms or barristers' chambers, it's really important to think about the skills that you need to become a lawyer, because we can talk until we're blue in the face about the route into law, but if you're not focusing on the skills that you need to actually get there, that's definitely probably going to cause you some problems. So on the screen there, you can just see some of the skills that you will need to go into the legal profession. Let's pull some of those out a little bit more. The one I always like to really focus on most heavily is the area of commercial awareness. This is one of the most important skills that lawyers need. And essentially it means possessing knowledge of current developments in local, national and world business, particularly issues that will impact your law firm and its clients. The firms will expect you as an employee to market their service to their prospective clients, as well as developing those trusting relationships with your existing clients. And at the end of the day, a law firm, and also barristers' chambers, but very much a law firm, it's a business. So you have to be able to appreciate the commercial importance of meeting those deadlines, of keeping those costs low and handling that information really confidentially. On the client side, they're expecting their lawyer to fully understand how their business is run, what are some of the wider social, political and economical issues that might affect them. You've got to be able to, they expect you to understand the short, medium and long-term implications of their business proposal, to be able to think strategically about their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities and their threats. So this enables you to provide that pragmatic, business-minded legal advice to the best of your ability. So the skill of commercial awareness is so really, really important. Communication and interpersonal skills. Having really strong oral and written communication skills are crucial, and without them you will probably struggle to carry out the duties of a solicitor or a barrister effectively. You've got to have an excellent listening ability, because you need to be able to build relationships with your clients, provide that confidence to them that you're going to be able to get through what they need you to do. You've got to be a confident speaker, especially if you're looking to go in the barrister profession. You've got to argue a case in court, negotiate settlements with people, explain complex information to your clients, and also explain complex information to the jury as well. You've got to be able to use very persuasive, clear, succinct language. Public speaking is a really important skill as well. Whether you want to be a barrister or a solicitor, it's really important. So if you're at university at the moment, you could volunteer to be a spokesperson in group activities. Perhaps there's a debating or a mooting society that you could get involved with if you're not part of those already. Also have a look at maybe the ability to research and analyze. So absorbing fact and figures, reading large amounts of information, analysing material, distilling it into something more manageable. This is a real key feature in any law career. Being able to kind of identify what is relevant out of a mass of information and being able to explain it really clearly and concisely to your client is key. So you could hone this skill by taking some big documents or some big news articles and kind of making, let's say, 5 bullet points about the most important things that you have found from that article. How do you apply those skills to your application? The best way we could advise that you do that is an assessment of your own employability skills. Before you start making your applications, think about, have I got the skills and qualities that these employers are looking for? What can I do? What am I involved with that can demonstrate those skills and those attributes? And also, are there any areas or gaps for improvement? Because we are very good as humans at talking about what we're really good at. What we're not always so great at is talking about what we're not very good at. So Can you think about any areas for gaps or improvement? And I think it's really important to state here as well that not everything has to come from legal work experience. It's all about relaying the relevant skills. How did you gain them? And how have they helped you? So if you've got a part-time job working in a shop, a cafe, or a bar, all of these show incredibly relevant transferable skills. They all show teamwork skills. They all show the ability to solve problems, because I used to work in retail. If you have a retail job, problem solving is 100% part of your role. You absolutely do that. So yeah, it's very much client-facing roles are super, super valuable. So if you haven't been able, lucky enough to get your mini pupilages or your vacation schemes or anything like that yet, don't panic. If you've got any type of work experience, it's super, super relevant and will really help you as you're progressing down the route into law. So focusing a little bit more now on that work experience, and if you're looking for that legal related work experience to help you on your route into law, there are lots of things that you can consider doing and start looking for right now. So the first thing could be your open days and your insight schemes. These are run by firms and by chambers. They could be virtual, they could be in person. They are very invaluable opportunities for you to be able to meet the people that work there. You'll learn about life in the organisation, the culture, the work on offer, and so much more. It's also an opportunity, if you have prepared yourself, to be able to really ace that initial interaction, which will then set you up really nicely for your future encounters and could eventually lead to you getting more opportunities. So once you've created a little bit of a short list of the firms or chambers that you're interested in, do have a look into any open days that they might be running here. They might not necessarily include working with a fee earner, but they could involve doing a few different tasks or group exercises and things like that. So they are super, super valuable. Then you've got your vacation schemes. These are very much more for those interested in the solicitor route. So it's a period of work experience offered by a law firm to give you an opportunity to experience what life is like as a solicitor. It's important to note these are not just your stereotypical coffee making, photographing, photocopying, all those kind of things. You'll be trusted with real work, given real ample opportunities to experience the culture of a firm. They are often paid as well, which is really exciting. And they are also available to those of you who are on a non-law background. Lots of law firms are often looking for those who are not studying law at the moment to come onto their vacation schemes. Vacation scheme applications will be open now or will be opening very shortly in certain firms. Most vacation schemes take place in the summer months outside of your university term time, but some of them also take place in winter and spring as well. The deadline for the winter schemes generally fall very early, and they're normally around January time. So do make sure you are keeping your eyes peeled about vacation schemes, because they are great to support you on your route to becoming a solicitor. But if you're interested in the barrister route, then mini pupilages could well be for you. They are short work experience placements and they involve shadowing a barrister, possibly with the opportunity to attend hearings in court. Mini pupilages could be 1 day, they could be 2 weeks. They really do vary, but they generally, on average, run for about 3 or 4 days. They give you an insight into the barrister profession, but also the opportunity to leave a real positive impression on that chambers, which, as you can appreciate, is crucial if you then want to go on to actually apply for full pupillage. If the chambers sees your potential as a real productive and motivated mini pupil, they're likely to look more favourably upon your pupillage application. So you might find you are attending conferences and meetings with clients, observing barristers, carrying out legal research, reviewing paperwork, attending social events if you're invited to do so. And then we have paralegal work. It's important to note here, paralegals, you may think they only apply to the solicitor route. Paralegal work is super, super valuable whether you wish to be a solicitor or a barrister. Paralegals generally support other legal professionals. They have a variety of different law firm kind of roles, but it would typically involve preparing legal documents, doing research and admin, interviewing clients and witnesses, providing legal advice, going to court. It's a very varied role, and you'll get to really kind of dip your toes into all aspects of the legal industry, which is super exciting. Paralegals are also very important as well. They're sometimes used as preparation for qualifying as a solicitor, because often the work that you're doing may mirror that of a trainee or a recently qualified solicitor. You will be expected to have a very good understanding of your general education, a good understanding of your law. You don't necessarily need to have done an undergraduate law degree or a conversion course to be a paralegal. Some of them might look on that more favorably. Some of them may require it. Some of them may even require you to have done your LPC or your SQE or your bar course. So do, again, just have a really good look at the T's and C's and at the small print within the job adverts, because that will give you a really good understanding of what's available to you. Okay, so to give us an opportunity now to have a bit of fun, I'm hoping that I'm going to have about 15 minutes to go through a little taster with you, and then that should leave me with around about 15 minutes at the end of the session to answer questions. And I know I've had a lot of questions coming in, so I will give my as much time as I possibly can to that. But I do definitely want to do this taster with you because it will give you a real opportunity to get into the legal sector. So this is what we're kind of gonna look at over this taster session. We're going to have a little look at what a contract is. So I want to get you thinking just for a minute or so, what contracts have you made in the last month? Maybe some of you have signed a new mobile phone contract. That's definitely a contract. Maybe, I don't know, some of you might have just bought a flat or bought a house. Maybe you've just moved into your new student accommodation for the year and you've signed your contract for your year in your new student accommodation. So those are all contracts. We are probably fairly familiar with those kind of more formalized contracts that exist. But what about if you agree to meet somebody at a particular time, at a particular place? Is that a contract? What about if you approach someone on Facebook Marketplace because they're selling something that you like and you verbally tell them that you would like to purchase that item? Have you just entered into a contract? These are the types of things we're going to be sort of thinking about over the next kind of 10 minutes when we are looking at this taster. So first thing is to understand how a contract is formed. So what you can see on the screen here is the kind of basic level process around how a contract is formed. You first of all have the agreement. Then you have the consideration, and then you have the contractual intention. If you do have a copy of the handout that we have for this taster, then you will be able to read through that, but I will bring it up on the screen in a second here. So first of all, you have the agreement. So the agreement generally is an offer by one party and an acceptance of that offer by the other party. That's a very basic summary of what that agreement is. Agreements can be huge amounts. If you're buying a house, the offer comes in from you, the acceptance comes back from the other person. If you are dealing with a divorce, you offer something to your partner, they may agree in writing. If you are potentially buying something off of Facebook Marketplace, you make an offer, that person comes back to you and agrees that. So that's your kind of your understanding of the agreement side of things. Then you have the offer. So focusing a little bit more on the offer, you can make an offer to an individual, to a group, or to the public at large. So that's an important point. But it must be clear, must be so clear that it is take it or leave it. You can take it or you can leave it. Those are your options. If you put an advert in your local paper to sell your bike for £10, that is an invitation for somebody to make an offer to buy it, not an offer for you to sell it. Otherwise, you'd be bound to sell it to everybody who replies, and you've only got one bike. So it's an invitation for someone to make you the offer, not necessarily the offer by you to sell something. If a shop displays a can of baked beans that's 40p on the shelf, that's not an offer. It's an invitation to negotiate. The offer is made by the customer, who then goes to the till and presents that tin to the cashier. That's the offer, and the cashier scanning it through is the agreement. So the acceptance has to be really clear that you are accepting the offer that's been made to you. If you argue about it or try and change the terms, you are rejecting the offer. You are then making a counter offer. So anyone who's used Vinted, for example, if you just click to buy something, straight away, that's you accepting it. If you go back to them and offer them £8 instead of £10, you're rejecting that offer. You're making a counter offer. Silence is also not acceptance. But once you have accepted, that is the point of no return. You can't then change your mind if the other party won't let you. So then we move into the consideration. It must be a bargain. Every party must have done something in exchange for what he has been given. Otherwise, it's not a contract, but it's a gift. So that's really important. Money is then generally paid in return if it's kind of that side of things. It doesn't have to provide equal consideration. A contract that will pay you £100 if the other person will walk from London to Yorkshire is perfectly valid, as is agreeing to walk from London to Yorkshire in return for 3 chocolate bars. It doesn't have to be an equal consideration between the two. But promising to do something in return for love and affection, that's generally not good consideration. And then finally, you have your contractual intention. So this means an intention that the agreement should be legally binding. So in the case of something like a social or domestic agreement, so let's say an agreement between friends and family, the presumption is that there is no contractual intention. But in the case of more of a commercial agreement, there is a contractual intention. So very clear words need to be kind of produced to be able to understand that. So this is hopefully giving you an idea of the type of things that you might learn if you come on to one of our courses. So I'm going to now ask the team to pull up the handout that we had. If you have a copy of the handout, which hopefully you will have done so, thank you very much to Ben there. Hopefully you have a copy of this handout. If not, we should easily be able to get it through to you. It should be coming out to you in the follow-up email that you will receive as well. If you don't have it, you should be able to see it all on screen here at the moment. So this is just a very brief summary of what we've just gone through and kind of what I've just gone through in terms of you into how is that contract formed. So just to revisit them, because in a second, I'm going to get you guys to think about some scenarios and decide whether they are a contract or not. So you've got to have the agreement. The usually means an offer by one party and an acceptance of that offer by the other party. Then you have got your consideration. Each party must have done something in exchange for what he has been given. Money is often paid, but promising to do something in return for love and affection is not good consideration. And then you've got your contractual intention. So this means an intention that the agreement should be legally binding. So those are how a contract is formed. We're going to flick over to the other side of our document now. And these are our activities. So we're going to go through these one by one, these 7 scenarios on the screen. And what we should hopefully get at each point is a little poll that's going to pop up on the screen in front of you. And you will be able to tell us whether you think this is a contract or not. And fingers crossed, I'm going to then be able to see the results of that poll. And then we can come back from there. So looking at question 1. Your mother agrees to give you £100 a week whilst you are at university. Would you say that that is a contract or not? So you can see, hopefully you can see on the screen there, yes or no. So have a little look, have a think. Your mother agrees to give you £100 a week whilst you are studying at university. So have a think about those. I can see the results coming in. I'll literally give you like 10 more seconds to make your decisions, which is good. Keep your votes coming in. So your mum agrees to give you £100 a week whilst you're at university. And I'm going to stop it here. So we have fallen around about 70% of you are saying no, and about 30% of you are saying yes. So, thank you for that. This is not a contract. This is a conditional gift. There is an agreement here, but there is no contractual intention. And you would seem to have given no consideration, as in you haven't done anything or you haven't promised something for your mother's promise of £100 to you. With that parent-child relationship, it's very close. And generally, neither parent nor child would intend that agreement to have legal consequences. So this would not be classed as a contract. So question 2, you accept an offer of qualifying work experience with a law firm. Is this a contract? Question 2, has now popped up on the screen. Is this a contract? Yes or no? So you accept an offer of qualifying work experience with a law firm. Is that a contract? I can see the results coming in so far. So do get your thoughts, and I'll give you 5 more seconds just to finish this one off. And we're going to close it there. So we've got 94% of you have said yes, and about 6% of you have said no. This is a contract. There is agreement, there is consideration, and because it's in a commercial context, there is an intention to create legal relations. The firm's consideration is the promise of a job, and your consideration is the promise to do the job that you've been offered. So that would be classed as a contract. Question 3. You see an advert on a notice board saying contract books for sale, £10, phone Emma on 6339. You telephone and you leave a message on the answer phone saying that you will buy the books. Is this a contract? So question 3 just popped up on the screen for you now. Is this a contract? So you see an advert, someone's selling some books, you phone them, you leave them a message on their answer phone saying that you will buy the books. Is that a contract? So again, I can see the vote still coming in. So please get involved. This is not nothing's going to come from this. It's just a little fun activity to get you guys thinking about something that the types of things that you would study on a course if you came to the University of Law, just to add a bit of fun to the proceedings. And I'm going to close it there. So we've ended on 84% of you are saying no, and 16% of you are saying yes. The answer is no. This is not a contract. The advert was not an offer to you. It wasn't a definitive promise to sell the books to you or anybody else for £10. She has a limited number of books, if you remember the bike situation from earlier. If the advert was to be held as an offer, she could find herself in breach of contract to any number of people who leave a message saying that they want to buy the books. The advert is what's technically known as an invitation to treat, and it's inviting anyone who sees the advert to offer to buy the books. But that lady doesn't have to accept any particular offer, and only if and when she does so and she's accepted would there be a binding contract. Question 4. You agree to meet your friend at the railway station at 6 p.m. Is this a contract? Question 4. You agree to meet your friend at the railway at 6 o'clock. Is this a contract? Can see some votes still coming in, which is good. So you agree to meet your friend at the railway station at 6 o'clock. Is this a contract? And I'm going to stop it there. We've got 92% of you saying no, 8% of you saying yes. I can confirm that is not a contract. There is an agreement, and there is the consideration, the promise in return for the promise. But there is no intention to create legal relations. It is simply an agreement between friends, so is not counted as a contract. Question 5. You agree to buy your cousin's computer for £300, payment and delivery to be next Saturday. Question 5. Is this a contract? You agree to buy your cousin's computer for £300, payment and delivery to be next Saturday. Is this a contract? This one seems to be splitting the room a little bit more than the last few. So you agree to buy your cousin's computer for £300, payment and delivery to be next Saturday. Fascinating. Okay, I'll give it a minute or so because I can still see a couple more votes coming in, which is great to see. Ooh, interesting. Things have moved a little bit. Okay, so we've settled, give or take, on 60% of you saying yes, this is a contract, 40% of you saying no. I can confirm that this is, in fact, a contract. Contract for the sale of the goods. There is agreement. Consideration is present insofar that your cousin has promised you the computer in return for your promise to pay £300. There is a mutual exchange of contracts, and there is a mutual exchange of promises, and that is what has given rise to the contract. The date for the payment, the date for delivery, that's technically irrelevant. Their contractual intention is there. The cousins are not particularly close, like as in cousins are not as close as, let's say, mother and child from our first situation. But because of the amount of money at stake, it may well be that you and your cousin intend to create those legal relations. So that would be considered a contract. So next time you agree to buy something off your family member, do bear this in mind. Question 6. You are a property developer and you agree to buy a disused factory building from a chemical company for £1 million. Question 6. Is that a contract? You are a property developer and you agree to buy a disused factory building from a chemical company for £1 million. Is that a contract? Okay. I will call it there. We've got roughly 90% of you saying yes, 8% of you saying no. I can confirm that that is indeed a contract for the sale of the land, and it therefore needs to be in writing and signed by both parties, but you have got that agreement. You've both agreed to it. You have got the acceptance because it's clear that that person has accepted the offer. So that would be classed as a contract. And our final one. At university, this is my favourite one because it's always probably the most difficult one. At university, you and your flatmates take it in turns to buy a lottery ticket each week on the understanding that you will go shares if your ticket wins. 1 week, your ticket wins £50,000. Is that a contract? So you and your flatmates have got a little lottery syndicate going on. You agree that you'll go shares if it wins, and 1 week you win £50,000. Question 7, is that a contract? So a lottery syndicate, is that a contract? And this is why I love this question, because it is exactly 50-50. It's a really interesting one. This is why I find this question the most fun that I get to do. So lottery syndicate, 1 week you win 50 grand. Is it a contract? Give it 10 more seconds just for any final votes, because this is definitely the trickiest one. Okay, as expected, we have ended up 51% of you saying yes, it is a contract, and 49% of you saying no. This one always splits the room pretty much. We're on 50-50 now. Go straight down the middle. I can confirm, drum roll please, this would be classed as a contract. There is the agreement. The agreement is there from the beginning. Consideration is there because it's taking it in turns to buy the ticket, and the mutual promise to go shares. The agreement is between flatmates, but because of the potential prize money involved, because you win 50 grand, but it could be millions and millions, there is very likely to be that contractual intention there. So if a ticket does win, that prize money has to be divided. Otherwise, your disappointed flatmates could technically sue you for breach of contract. So there we go. That is our fun little contract activity. I hope you enjoyed that, and a little bit of a dive into something a bit fun. And you should be, as I say, all get a copy of this activity sent out to you, and then on the front page of it, you will be able to see that that information around how a contract is formed. So I have left myself with 10 minutes, which I still feel like is going to be enough time to get through some of these questions. So I will do my utmost to get through as many of them as I possibly can. I'm going to go through from the bottom upwards because I feel like that's the fairest way we can do it. As I say, I will do my absolute best to get through as many of them as I can. I think we can potentially turn off the media now. If we just want to have me big on screen, that's absolutely fine. Amazing. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good to see me in a big format. So I will run through as many of these questions as I can. So first of all, what are the routes into sitting the SQE if you have a degree in something other than law? Hopefully I clarified that at the beginning, but you will need to do a conversion course ideally and then you will move on to studying the SQE courses. So hopefully I have answered that one, and that is all good and done. If you register to study online, are you still able to go on campus and use the facilities and vice versa? So if you are part of our online campus, you will select what we call a home campus, and you will then be able to go onto campus and use the libraries, the photocopiers, the printers, and things like that. If you are a in-person student, then you will not be able to take any of the, for instance, you won't be able to attend any classes online. You have to do all of your classes in person. So it works from the online campus, but obviously if you are attending as an in-person student, then you will do that kind of within there. So I hope that answers that one for you. Does paralegal work experience count as qualifying work experience? So the Solicitors Regulation Authority have not expressly defined what is classed as qualifying work experience and what is not. They have a list of competencies that you have to gain through your qualifying work experience. As a general rule, yes, paralegal work has been counted as qualifying work experience up to this point. I'm not going to say yes for definite because they haven't released us this prescribed list, but in general we are seeing paralegal work does count as qualifying work experience. So let's say you've been a paralegal for 2 years, you could then go take your SQE examinations and pass them, and then you are technically a qualified solicitor. So I hope that helps you there. What is the difference between the law, I'm guessing that's law conversion courses that we offer? Yeah, great question. The postgraduate diploma in law is kind of our baseline level conversion course. This is the most popular one that we do. This one just goes through all of your key conversion course modules that you need to do. So it will look at your contract law, your tort law, your criminal law, etc. It is just those kind of core modules that you have to do. The MA law conversion is the next step up from there. That is exactly the same as the PGDL, and on top of that you will do a dissertation. So that dissertation is marked at master's level, so that is what brings the whole course up to an MA level. And then you've got your MA Law SQE1. So again, that one is only for those who wish to go down the solicitor route. It's exactly the same as the PGDL, and once you finish that, you'll move straight on to the SQE1 preparation course. And when you finish that whole entire course, which is just over a calendar year long, you'll then be ready to sit your SQE1 examinations. I hope that answers. It is worth noting as well, the postgraduate diploma in law is not eligible for a postgraduate student loan, whereas the MA Law conversion and the MA Law SQE1 are eligible for a postgraduate student loan because they are master's level courses. So I do hope that has assisted you with that one. For qualifying work experience, if you did a placement year, does this count? The short answer is it depends. It depends on what you did during your placement year. It depends on how many of the competencies set by the Solicitors Regulation Authority you covered as part of your placement year. My suggestion would be head on to the Solicitors Regulation Authority website and go to their qualifying work experience page. Have a little read through what they've written on there, and hopefully they will be able to help you with that. If not, I would suggest getting in contact with them as well. But it depends on the type of work that you did. If you worked in as a paralegal, if you worked within citizens advice, generally those things will count. But yeah, I would definitely suggest taking a look at the Solicitors Regulation Authority website to see if you have taken and kind of passed those competencies they require. I've completed an LLM and I'd like to take the SQE1 and SQE2 exams. How do I go about this? I would suggest that you come onto a course with us here at the University of Law. It would be great to have you with us. Technically, you can sit the SQE exams without having ever taken a course to prepare you for them. Personal opinion, I don't think you would probably very much struggle to pass if you hadn't at least done some form of preparation course, especially for SQE1, because the assessment method is what's known as single best answer questions, and they are very much unlike anything that you have probably ever done before. So we really would suggest that you do take a course to prepare you for the SQE1 and the SQE2 exams, and then you would go and sit those. So again, I hope that has helped. Would you say it's easier to become a Silex lawyer instead rather than going through the SQE LPC route? Being completely honest with you, because of my background, I don't know a huge amount about the route into law via Silex. I would personally say that I don't think any route is easier than another route. Becoming a lawyer is quite tricky either way. My best piece of advice to you would be to do your research into all of the different routes and make the best decision for you. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't do a route just because it's easy. You need to do the right route for you. So I would say go along to as many different open days with different providers that you can, speak to different firms and find out what their suggestion would be that you should do, and then take the best route for you, not necessarily the easiest one. There is a couple of questions around the recordings and whether you can have access to the slides. My understanding is that you will receive this recording, which will of course have the slides within it. I hope that is correct. If anyone from Target Jobs would be able to perhaps confirm that, that would be great, but I'm pretty confident that you will get the recording, which of course will have the slides contained within it. I'm in my final year of a non-qualifying LLB at a non-UK university. Will I be eligible for the SQE without a conversion degree? I think I've sort of just covered that. Technically, yes, but I would very much suggest that you take a conversion course before going onto the SQE, because you won't have the basic level understanding of English and Welsh law if you've not done a non-English and Welsh LLB, and the foundation level modules that you will do on a conversion course make up 50% of the SQE1 exams. So if you haven't done a conversion course in advance of taking the SQE, you may well struggle to pass. So I would still very much suggest that you do consider taking a conversion course. Currently studying something other than law. How do I go about securing the training contract as well as the conversion course? So the conversion course is just a simple application process. You'll go via the Law Cabs website. Securing your training contract, hopefully, as I've gone through the session today, that there was a lot of advice given to you about the best ways you can do that. But definitely looking at vacation schemes, attending insight days. These are all the sort of good starting points for you, especially if you're coming from a non-law background. I've got a law degree from Turkey, LLM student in the UK. Can I work as a solicitor or a barrister after graduation? You wouldn't be able to work after graduating from your LLM. You would have to go on to do your SQE or your bar course, and ideally some form of conversion course before that, because obviously your law degree is not from this country and is not from a common law country. So you would need to qualify via the route that I mentioned at the start, before you wouldn't be able to come straight, unfortunately, from your LLM. MSc in criminology, can this be used towards a law degree? Unfortunately not. No, you would still need to do a conversion course and then go on to the SQE or the bar course if you wanted to qualify down the legal route. I'm making my way through them. I'm firing through them. Are there any resources where you would recommend where one can find work experience opportunities like paralegal work? I would say the firm's websites or chambers websites are a really good starting point. Do you consider places like Target Jobs as well? Because undoubtedly they will share lots of these types of opportunities. Do also, if you are studying at university, go and speak to your careers departments at your university as well, because they will undoubtedly be sent information by firms and chambers around things like paralegals. So your careers department will undoubtedly be able to support you. If you do come to us for your postgraduate studies as well, we have a huge amount of support. We have weekly careers newsletters, we have jobs boards and things like that. So yeah, I hope that assists you. If you have a bachelor's degree in law from a university in the UK, what is the route to becoming a lawyer in Canada? I have to be completely honest with you and say that I am not sure about that. Unfortunately, I don't know about the routes to becoming a lawyer in Canada. My suggestion would be that you reach out to perhaps a law firm in Canada or even a university in Canada that might be able to assist you. But unfortunately, yeah, I'm not sure of the answer to that one. Doing an LLM in data and tech law. What are the career routes related? LLB from India, will it be a hindrance to your employability? No, certainly won't be a hindrance to your employability. But as mentioned, if you've done anything that is non-law or not a qualifying law degree within England and Wales, the suggestion would be for you to do a conversion course and then move on to doing either your SQE or your bar route, depending on which route you want to go down. How much prior knowledge is expected for a conversion course? None. It is literally designed for those who have never done anything to do with law in your life before. And there will be some pre-work that you'll have to complete. It's about 30 hours of pre-work that you'll do before you start the course. But no, you are expected to have no legal knowledge whatsoever when you're coming onto the conversion course. That is quite literally what the courses are designed for. How can you apply for mini pupilages? You'll generally find those opportunities on the Chamber's websites. But again, do have a look at places like targetjobs and also speak to careers departments at your universities, as they will undoubtedly be able to support you with finding who is offering mini pupilages at this time. Want to get into intellectual property law, but I'm a non-law student. So would suggest that you take a conversion course, and then depending on whether you want to be a solicitor or a barrister, go on to study the SQE or the bar course, depending on which your route. But you will need to be a qualified lawyer if you, of course, want to work in intellectual property. So that would be the route that you would need to take to be able to do that. Will an LLM deliver knowledge? Will LLM delivered knowledge be important for passing SQE? Do SQEs differ for different legal areas? So if you have done like a standalone LLM, so not an LLM attached to an SQE, it depends again on the area that your LLM was in, but generally no, the LLM wouldn't provide you with the similar information that you'd need to pass the SQE. You would still want to take a course on the SQE in order to actually pass it. And no, the SQE prepares you for all different legal areas. You would go on to look at specializing in the area that you want to focus in after you've completed your SQE. Depending on which SQE course you take, you can then choose to specialize in a particular area. But generally, the SQE is quite generalized, but you can look at certain modules. To do the GDL, would you need to secure a training contract? No, you can self-fund it. But as you say, there is no funding available for the course from the student finance department, but you can self-fund it if you have the ability to do so. But no, about between 5 and 10% of students who come onto our conversion courses are funded by a firm. The vast majority of them would self-fund that course. So no, you don't need to have secured a training contract. You can, but you don't need to have done so. And yes, we do offer courses in preparation of the SQE from the University of Law. If you head onto our website, we have a whole section dedicated to our SQE courses. We have our LLM Legal Practice SQE 1 and 2, and also our standalone SQE preparation courses as well. So yes, we have lots of courses available for you for the SQE. Undergraduate language student, I hope people don't mind. I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully I'm going to stop at about 5 past, but I will just keep going as quickly as I can. Undergraduate language student, have a year abroad. Would it be recommended to work in a law firm instead of study at a foreign university if I want to pursue law? I think either would be positive. Law firms really value language skills often. So increasing your language skills, I don't think would set you in any bad stead. You also may potentially struggle to actually get a full placement year within a law firm as well. I would suggest anything that's going to give you those transferable skills that I mentioned will be really valuable for you. So I think any of your options would be perfectly suitable for you. If you qualified outside of the UK, yes, you will still need to study on the SQE if you wish to qualify in this country. You'll have to at least pass the SQE exams if you want to study in this country. So we would very much suggest that you do take a course. For your personal statement for any of our courses, but this one's asking about the conversion courses, there is no word count. Our suggestion would just be to talk about why you now want to come onto law, especially if you're doing the conversion course route. What about it is of interest to you? What skills have you gained? What have you done some work experience? But there is no right or wrong answer to how many words you should write. It's very much just making sure that you cover all of those different areas, such as what I've just gone through there. So if you do a conversion course, you can then go on to take the SQE with the LLM combined, Nana. So you can do that, say the postgraduate diploma in law conversion course as a non-law student. Then you can go on to do what we call our LLM legal practice SQE 1 and 2. So this course is both your SQE studies and an LLM combined. So you'll come out the other side hopefully having sat and passed your SQE exams, but also having a fully qualifying LLM there for you as well in legal practice. At the stage when you're doing your conversion course, no, you cannot specialize in niche areas. The conversion courses will just cover your basics. As you go further down the route to qualification, that's when you can start to select the particular specialist areas that you would like to go into. And the final question that I'm going to answer based on the time, yes, you can absolutely, as a non-law graduate, go for the SQE. You would need to do a conversion course first and then come on to the SQE. That was a real whistle-stop tour of answers to questions. I really hope that I have been able to answer as many of them as I can. If you do have any follow-up questions after today's webinar, I would suggest that you send an email to our inquiries team, and they will very much be able to support you from there. The email address is study, S-T-U-D-Y, study at law.ac.uk. So that's study at law.ac.uk. If you want any follow-up questions, I would very much suggest that you reach out to that team and they will be able to support you. It was confirmed in the chat box that you will also receive a copy of the recording from today's session, which will of course contain the slides, and also a copy of the contract law taster that I went through with you today that I hope you found interesting. Thank you so much to everybody for joining me today. Apologies that I have run over slightly, but I do hope that it was super valuable for you to listen to my whistle-stop tour of questions. Thank you so much to Target Jobs as well for hosting the session today. And hopefully I will see some, if not all of you, studying with us here at the University of Law in the near future. Thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.